Hello and welcome to Lesson 5.1. Today we're going to look at relating graphs to events. So to begin it with, we're going to look at the example that says one student walks and takes a bus to get from school to home each day. The graph shows the student's commute by relating the time the student spends commuting and the distance that he travels. Describe what the graph shows by labeling each part. So when I look at this graph here, notice we have kind of a long slope incline here. Here, our slope gets a little bit steeper, then it's more gradual, and we can see that this part in here is pretty flat. So we have to think about what's going on. I have time on my x-axis and distance on my y-axis. So, based on what I know, is if I'm looking at this nice long, it's not a very steep slope, this right here. This here is probably going to indicate that the person is walking because it's taken them a little bit longer. It's the distance is slowly increasing, so this would be walking. Likewise, this region over here is also kind of a more shallow slope. So I would say that these two regions here is where this person is walking. Now in this region, I can see that this gets steeper. So we're going like faster, it's taking less time. So this right here is probably where the person is taking the bus. So the person is riding on the bus. And then this region right here is leveled off. So because they're not really moving or making any distance at this time, this tells us that they are most likely waiting for the bus here. And that's because, again, we're spending time there, but we're not going any distance. So based on just looking at the slopes and looking at how fast things increase or decrease, we're able to tell kind of what's going on with this person's wait time. Likewise, for the next example, it says the graph at the right shows a trip from home to school and back. We're still walking and getting a ride from a neighbor, and we're going to label each section. So again, this part right here is not very steep. So I would say that the person is probably walking, just like they're probably walking here. These two regions, it looks like we are riding. So this side here where we're going up, because my distance from home is increasing, this is where we would be riding with a neighbor to school, and then this side over here is where we're riding with a neighbor home from school. So is where we are riding. And then this part right in here most likely is when we are at school, because our time is elapsing, but our distance from home is not changing. So this is when we are probably in school here. Now for our next example, it says sketch a graph of the distance from a child's feet to the ground as the child jump ropes. And then we're going to label each section. So if I draw a graph and we make this our time, and our y-axis is going to be our height or distance. Okay, from the child's feet, what's going to happen is we are going to start out at the ground at time 0. The jump rope is going to come around, so that child is going to jump and their feet are going to land back on the ground. Then they're going to jump and then they're going to land back on the ground. Then they're going to jump and land back on the ground, and this is going to continue. So you can tell that each one of these bumps here is where the child is jumping. The peak is where they have cleared the rope. And then each time that the child hits the ground, they're going to hit that y or x-axis. So this right here is where that child is going to land their jump. Next, we're looking at a graph that is talking about speed versus time. So I can see, like in this first region here, we're going to slowly accelerate. So we have a slow speed. So we're going to go an increase. I'm going to put an up arrow for an increase in speed. Here we have a constant speed, so we're probably got our cruise set maybe. Then maybe we hit like an expressway and we're able to increase our speed again. Then all of a sudden, we're going to have to slow down. So I'm going to put slow to a stop, because notice my speed comes to a stop down here. So I'm going to stop. Then we're going to have another increase in speed. Then we have our cruise set. So this is a constant, so I'm going to put like a cruise set, and then here we're going to slow down again. And here we're back to a stop. So for our next example, it says, suppose you pour water into a container at a steady rate. Which graph shows the change in the height of the liquid in the container over time? So this right here is our container over time. So if you think about this logically, as we fill this container, it's going to fill up pretty fast at the bottom because the bowl is narrower at the bottom. As we get fuller, okay, our bowl is going to get wider and wider as time goes on. So that means it's going to take a little bit more time to fill the bowl the more time that goes by. So we need something that shows out that it fills up fast at the bottom here, and then it's going to take more time as we get up near the top. So looking at our graphs, okay, I can see that this graph here increases fast and then kind of slows up. This graph here increases really fast, kind of levels off, but then increases fast again. Graph C says things are just going at the same rate the whole time. And then graph D says that things are kind of slowly taking off, and then all of a sudden it's going to kind of really take off here. So because my bowl is going to fill up quickly at the bottom and then start to slow down over time, I'm going to say that my best choice would be option A. Now for our last example, it says sketch a rate of your heart rate during a workout. So if we look at a workout, we're going to have the time that's going by, and I'm going to put my heart rate on the y-axis. Now if you think about this, you have some constant heart rate at the beginning. Okay, I can't start at a 0 because everybody has a heartbeat. Then what's going to happen is you're going to work out, so it's going to increase pretty quickly. As you're working out, it should kind of level off. Then once you stop working out, it should decrease, and then it should level off again. So this right here could be a graph of a heart rate during a workout. Now this is our last example. Please let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day.